good afternoon, and welcome to the Let's Talk Destiny Talk Show. Today, we welcome our guest, the incomparable Ms. Lisa N. Alexander. Lisa is known as the Marketing Stylist. She is a speaker, author, entrepreneur, and so many other titles. She's a real blessing to women everywhere. Um, so today I invited Lisa in to talk with us and to share with us. There are so many, I talk to women all the time who are interested in starting their own businesses. And the majority of us don't know where to begin. And then once we come up with an idea and a concept and a vision, we don't know how to market it. We don't, it's more than just sharing it with your friends and your family and your neighbors in order to be successful. And so I invited Lisa here today to share with us some very key elements for marketing to help us get get the success that we absolutely deserve. So again, Lisa, welcome to our format today.
Thank you, Jamesina. I'm happy to be here, happy to share what I've learned, and I'll answer any questions. Here to help.
Thank you so much. Now, first of all, let's start with what are some of the businesses and endeavors that you actually have right now?
Currently, all right, so I have a soap business that kind of just like blossomed out of, grew up out of nowhere. I have a friend who says that, Lisa, you planted cucumber and grew a soap business. So that's kind of what happened there. I share the story on my Facebook, on my website, but I had a garden, grew cucumber, had way too many cucumbers, and decided to make soap out of the extra, and I would send them to my clients as gifts. And so with me having a background in graphic design, I made the label, I grabbed some mint out of the garden, wrapped it all in twine, did an impromptu product photo shoot on my kitchen table, posted the photo on Facebook, and had an order for 30 soaps the next day.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of my soap business. So that's Alexander Farm and Orchard. And as you mentioned, I am a speaker and an author. So that's considered a business as well. That's another revenue stream.
Yes.
And then I do, I have a creative agency. So we do marketing, we do branding, and our specialty would be video. So we do a lot of video production, and that's where we created our documentary, where we won our award from, is for the work we did through Pretty Work Creative and on the video side. So those are the three things right now. I'm going to hold to those three. Yes.
That's awesome. And one of the things that I love about you is that you do what you do with such suave sophistication, but it's combined with compassion. There are so many people who they have reached a certain level where they understand things and maybe the average person doesn't understand, and it's a challenge to get any information from them. Everything is like, well, I had to learn it, you go learn it kind of attitude. And when I talk to people about you, I say that this is one of the things that I love about you, is because you won't hesitate to share some information. And I genuinely appreciate that. Now, I wanted to ask you also, you have presented marketing strategies and styles nationally and internationally as well. So what do you, or how would you regard the status of women in business? Like, are there a lot of us in business, or are there a few of us in business? Or what do you think about women in business, even with regard to minority women? Are there, in your opinion, a lot of us that are interested in business?
Oh my God. So the stats from last year, just last year during the pandemic, so many women left their jobs and started businesses. So that's on top of the stat that says that about 41% of African-American owned businesses went under from the pandemic. So you have this dichotomy happening where you have businesses shutting down, but women starting businesses because of childcare issues, because of gaps in the wages, sexism still, and these glass ceilings in the workplace still. So you still see this continuation of women starting businesses. So to answer your question, women are still starting businesses in record numbers. Um, and it's going to take some intentionality from banks, from people that fund or give information to these new startups. That's going to be so critical and key, because for myself, I was the first entrepreneur that I knew. There was no one in my family who was an entrepreneur, so there was no one in my family to guide me. Now, mind you, this is before the internet, so I am aging myself, telling you about how old I am. This is before you could go to YouTube or Google anything. And so it really was a lot of trial and error
Yeah.
trying to figure things out. And especially for the industry that I am, I didn't see a lot of women, first of all. There weren't a lot of women in the industry. And two, certainly not a lot of women that looked like me. And so that's kind of why I am a proponent of sharing information. And there's different ways you can do that. So you can write a book, you can write a blog, you can do a podcast to disseminate the information. So the information is out there. Sometimes you just have to do a little digging to get the information that you need. But I'll say more times than not, the correct information is out there. I would definitely say vet your sources. You can't believe everything that you read, everything that you see. Some of the things that I have heard that have gone on in Clubhouse, I have not subscribed. I don't have Clubhouse, but some of the things that I have, be very wary. Vet your sources.
That makes sense. And that's a great strategy, because sometimes when you are excited about something, like you get this idea and you're like, oh my God, I think I could do this. And you get all excited and then you start telling people, and everybody has an opinion, everybody has suggestions, everybody knows somebody that did something similar. And next thing you know, you got all of these thoughts and these voices in your head. And sometimes you end up like making such a mess of it, you just give up. And it's important to be able to streamline voices based on relationship, but also on expertise. Like, what have you done relative to what you're telling me to do that I can look at and say, yes, you know what you're talking about? Okay, maybe you don't have a doctor's degree in it or a PhD in it, but have you succeeded in it? Otherwise, I'll holler at you a little later. Okay, next thing I wanted to ask you is, what do you see as the greatest fear for women who want to begin a business?
Fear of success, fear of failure. So those two things, either I'm going to succeed and I don't know how to handle it. You'd be surprised at how many women can sabotage themselves when they are on the brink of success, whether that's weight loss, whether that's business, in anything. Sometimes the fear of success, because if this kind of success is new for you, if you've never been in a space before, it can be scary and it's easy to revert back to your normal or what feels comfortable. So that meme that says the magic always happens outside of your comfort zone, you can believe that. It's absolutely the truth. And then some of us are absolutely afraid to failure, afraid to fail. And that stems from a need to people please, because what are people going to say about me? What if I look stupid? What if my family talks about me? What if I'm disowned? What if I fail miserably?
Yeah.
Okay, who hasn't failed miserably? You only remain in failure if you stay there, but if you take it as a learning opportunity and grow from it, then it was a learning lesson. And I know you may have heard that before, but it really is true. It's not just some pseudo psychology. It's like, let's all feel better about our mistakes. It really is true that if you do learn from it, you've bettered yourself, and now you have something to build on. Now you've got, you've added some extra sand to your concrete for your foundation. And it's
Wow.
that much better.
That is so true. And I was thinking just as you were talking that one of my personal issues has been, and I'm a little better about it now, but whenever I get this idea or I see, oh, wow, let me go try this, I'll stop and I say, now suppose this doesn't work. And then it's one more thing that people can use against me and say, you didn't succeed, like you messed it up, like it didn't work or whatever. And I've gotten to the place now where I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try it. And then I can at least say I tried. And but it took a long time to get there. And a lot of people don't have I call nudgers, I call them nudgers. A lot of people don't have nudgers in their life that say, okay, get up, let's go, let's go. And one of the things that I have enjoyed about our friendship and our sisterhood is that you are a nudger. And you know, sometimes you'll say, you know, every now and then you'll check in, okay, Jamesina, what are you doing? What are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? And then, you know, like, oh, and you're like, no, no, we're not doing that. Like, so a lot of times when I find myself like falling off, I think, okay, let me get to work because I don't want to hear from Lisa. Like even with the school thing, I was like, I got so overwhelmed and frustrated. And it was only one class. And to some people that was like, oh my God, it's just one class. But it was a lot going on. And I just like, forget it. I'm just not going to do it. And then you kind of, you inbox me and you said, no. So what exactly is the issue? And then I'm telling you what the issue is. You said, okay, well, let's get that issue straight. And then we can move to the next one. And I was like, oh, wow, that's powerful. And that is a gift within itself, and divine is in divinely inspired ministry as well. Now, let me ask you another question. When you talk to people who are, they have ideas, they have concepts, because I've talked with people who say, I want to start a business. And then when I ask them what kind of business, they can't really explain what it is that they want to do. Like, oh, I want to do something with this, or I want to do something that may include that. Okay, but what does that mean? Because that's kind of like wide open there. So as a marketing specialist, what would you say is like the number one most important key when it comes to designing a business and getting a marketing strategy?
So I think the most important thing for anybody that's an aspiring entrepreneur is to get really clear on what solution, what problem you're solving.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to. There's a problem in the marketplace, there's a problem in the workplace, and you have a solution to it, bottom line. So you should be able to articulate what the problem is and your solution. That's going to make sure that your marketing is relatively simple. If you can break it down, problem, solution, or problem and empathy, and how you work in that, the solutions that you bring, it becomes simpler. I'll say that it becomes simpler. So problem, your solution.
Wow, that's powerful and very simplistic. And it's one of the things that I learned from you as well, which kind of when you think about it, it should be common sense. But it really isn't. Like, because one of the things that a lot of people find them, like, especially women, you have an idea about something, but then you have all these other responsibilities, your children, your husband, your dogs, your cats, your whatever. And so you you get like, okay, I think I could do this, but then you start thinking about what it's going to cost you to do it, like how much time you got to put in it, how much energy, well, and then you just feel overwhelmed before you even get started. So I think that is very important that you do. And I remember when I first met you and we first started talking, that you asked me to define my purpose or my,
Mm,
and I was like, mm. Like I couldn't, because in my head, in my head, all these things were going like, well, I work with mothers. I uh, specifically deal with mothers who have children who are incarcerated. I started like thinking of all these things I did, and I thought about my ministry and whatever. And I was just like rambling all around. And then you said to me, it's very simple. Like mostly what you're focused on is empowering mothers. and inspiring mothers, and you do that in different ways, but that's kind of like your focal point. And you just have no idea how much weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I should have known that, because everything I do, it seems like it comes back to mothers. And I don't know why. I just automatically started, oh my God, I this, I do that, I do the other. And what is she asking me exactly? And and I find that a lot of people that I've spoken with recently, there's a young lady I'm talking to right now, and I really am encouraging her to connect with you, because she has wonderful ideas, uh, um, a business that she would like to start, but she's comes from a background of uh church people and family members telling her, like, what you're doing, that's not it. That's not what God wants you to do. It's like people know more about what you're supposed to be doing than what you do. And so whenever she brings up this idea, they always kind of swerve her over to, well, that's nice kind of attitude, but this is really where you're more, where you're what you're better at. And so I'm just now getting her to the place where she understands that if this is my passion, if this is what wakes me up in the middle of the night, this is what I keep coming back to, then this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I said, I know somebody that you need to talk to, because she can help you kind of like narrow that thing down and get an idea of what you want. And so I want to mention this before I forget. You also have you offer strategy sessions. I think they're like 15 minutes where a person can contact you. Could you give us that information on how they can do that?
I have what's called discovery sessions, and they're just 15 minutes. And you tell me what it is that you kind of want to do, what you're thinking about, and I'll um, give you my thoughts. We'll do it in 15 minutes. And you can go to my Facebook page, The Marketing Stylist. And I believe you can also do it from my website, lisanalexander.com. So those two places will get you there, and you can at least do a free 15 or complimentary 15-minute discovery schedule. If you know that you need more time and you want to go more in depth, you can definitely book a full hour. Of course, there is a fee attached to that. Yeah, I think even for a half hour. So that it depends on your needs and what you want to accomplish in our time together. So there are some options, and I'm more than happy to chat.
And I encourage everyone who will hear this video and this conversation, that if you have any hunger at all to start a business, and you have a passion that you want to turn into a business, that you schedule this 15-minute discovery session, because I tell you, within that 15 minutes, Lisa can give you some ideas that you didn't even think about. And I know in the 15 minutes I spoke with her, it was like, okay, then I never thought about that part. So, yeah, I mean, really, I'm not just saying this because she's my friend, but she is definitely a marketing specialist. And in that 15 minutes, she will give you sort of a foundation to build on. Because I find that most of us, when we get the idea, then we are kind of like all over the place. Like, oh, that, I know somebody does something like that. But no, because we got to narrow this thing down in order to make it successful. Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think are some of your character traits, Lisa, that have helped you to become a successful businesswoman and a helper of women?
I would say I am always willing to learn. I will almost unwillingly, but I will do it, admit when I'm wrong, when I've failed. It hurts me as a Virgo. It just hurts to have to.
Yes, yeah.
But I am willing to see where I've missed the mark and to correct it, because you will not catch me in that space again. I'm gonna make sure of that. So I think it's this commitment to be willing to learn, and then I'm not afraid to share and to give. I am a giver. It was to a fault at one point, and I had to be reined in by some mentors and people that loved me, that said, "Hey, girl, that's too much." And I think my husband, he's been one of my biggest cheerleaders, and he says, "Lisa, nobody gets 100% of you, like
Wow.
ever. Nobody get, because then what's left for you? How do you take care of yourself?" how do you take care of your business if everybody gets 100% of you? And I think that was so telling. And it was something I had to work on because I was taught differently. It's like you give it all, you just give,
Exactly,
give,
exactly.
give. But there has to be a cap because you can't give from an empty vessel, and so you have to reserve so that you can fill yourself. So I think though being a giver, knowing my boundaries, setting limitations, and personal boundaries and business boundaries are so important, and you have to abide by whatever you create for yourself. So whatever you value, if you know your time, your money, your family, you set boundaries and parameters around those, and you don't violate them. You don't let anybody cross them. And so this year, I said I was focusing on two things this year, and that was it. I have two goals for this year, and I have a very narrow mindset this year. These are the things that I am going to do. And so I've had people, Lisa, can you do this? Lisa, can you do? And these, I mean, it's not even strangers. These are people that I know. And having to tell your friends,
Yes,
no, I can't do this. Now's not a good time. It's hard, but it's necessary and it's needed. And
absolutely.
sometimes you have to be able to do that, to say no, because I'm focused on something else right now. And this is going to pull me off my focus. And I've got a one-track mind right now. You know, I've got a mandate and a mission. I've got to finish this year. And so I've had to say no a lot this year. I've said no quite a bit.
Wow. And you know, I was thinking as you were speaking, both of us are daughters of preachers, and our mothers, they were givers, and that's who they were. It's like their identity was giving, giving, giving. So we grew up seeing that. And even though I felt at times mom was doing too much for people, and I felt like people were taking advantage of her, and then I found myself doing the same thing. Like I have a hard time saying no because I feel like even with my business, I think I couldn't
Mm,
separate the business part from the ministry part. And so as the ministry part, oh my God, there's no way I can say no. My parents would just come up from the grave if I said no. And then when I realized, okay, I'm damaging myself and I'm affecting myself, then I can't really give my best to anyone because I have nothing left. And I was thinking when you said that, I heard a young lady say a couple of weeks ago, she said that I hear people say all the time that can't pour from an empty cup. She said, but you know what I've learned? She said, I pour from my saucer. Like whatever overflows into the saucer, I give out. The cup is for me. So whatever's in the cup that sustains me
mm,
and feeds my soul, I keep that for me. And then what overflows into the saucer, I will share with other people. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that because all I know is that you take your cup and you keep pouring, 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 pouring to whoever needs it, share it, spread it around. And then one day you look in there and you have nothing. And then you go back and try to get it filled up again and you empty it out again. So it's very important, as you said, that we set those boundaries. And I think as women in business, that's one of the things that we definitely have to put into practice because we have so many roles and we have so many responsibilities that if we don't set boundaries, we will find ourselves just like overwhelmed and to the point of just giving up. Now, before I let you go, I want to say that, you know, I cannot let you go without talking about my favorite subject, and that is motherhood. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, how do you feel that motherhood has played a role into your journey to this place, or do you feel that it has played a role?
So being a mom is a huge responsibility because I'm called to make sure that this person living in my house, one, makes it to adulthood, and then two, is a successful in adulting when the time comes. And so you have to heal in some places to be able to effectively parent. Um, there are some lessons that you have to learn so that you can share them with your children. So with my son, he gets everything. It's like, okay, do this, do this, do this. If I ever catch you doing this, do this. And it's like, I'm coming for you personally because I've already done this and I've already been down this road. You don't have to do this. So I'm gonna need you to do this. And so I share with him even the business lessons that I've learned, lessons that I may be in the middle of something. It's like, hey, 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 so this is going on here. And it's like, do you see how this happened and played out? And he was like, yeah, I see that. And it's like, so what did you learn from it? And so I'm able to share this with him because I tell him all the time, I said, you don't have to go through certain things because your father and I have already gone through them. There are certain things you don't have to experience. So it makes no sense. And I'll repeat it for as long as I can. I have breath in my body. Why would you dig a road parallel to a road I've already done?
That's right. That's right.
I've trenched it, I've done it. Why would you dig a parallel road? Come behind me, learn the lessons that I learned. And then when, my time has expired and, I go on and get my reward, then you can supersede what I do and continue building. But to build a parallel road to something that's already been dug out and trenched, and why would you do that? And so that's kind of my approach to, helping my son be an adult, is to let him show him my mistakes. I don't come off, I am not perfect by any means. And so
Yes.
I share that with him and it's like, you know what, I screwed up royally here. Here's how you not screw up royally in the same.
That's right.
Um, and so I'm very transparent. We have very real, very transparent conversations, and I'm grateful for that. And so, me being a business owner, I love to tell him that he has options and
Yeah.
let's consider this. So that being a parent, being a mom in particular, especially mom to a son and a Black son at that, lots of prayers, and then just making sure that he sees all his options
Yeah.
that are available to him. It very much so fuels the way that I work, how I build my business. Because then I'm always thinking, it's like, how could Evan benefit from this? So it's just how I do.
And I think I've spoken with a lot of mothers, as you know, who feel like motherhood has prevented them from pursuing their goals or hindered them from pursuing a vision that they may have. And I think it's in the way you look at it, because if you carry your children along with you emotionally, mentally, like you just explained, no matter what age they are, they can participate in some type of way that makes them feel engaged and it makes them feel a part of it. Then there's no need for you to feel that you can't do it because of your children, because my concept is that I do what I do for my children and because of my children, not in spite of my children. And so this is what I tell some, especially young mothers who have young children and they feel, well, all my whole entire focus is on my kids. I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, there has to be sometimes when your kids are sleeping, or there's got to be some time when you can do the thing that feeds your soul
Right.
and then incorporate them into that thing. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And I love the way you speak about him, Mr. NFL.
Love that. Well, he's a young man. I love that young man. And to your point, so specifically for young mothers with young children, I've been there, done that. And so you won't be able to do all the things. Let me just tell you that right now. So there were certain things that I could do, and certain things as the children got older, then I could take on more responsibility. So there is a mom blogger out there, and she has something to the effect of signing the contract in crayon, something to that effect. And then if you get one thing done in your bit, so success looks different at
Right,
each level. So if you have anywhere from a newborn to toddlers in the house, there are going to be just certain things that you can get done, and please consider those successful.
right, right.
you can't compare yourself to somebody who has adult children in the house who have their own car, who come and go as they please. They're going to get far more done than somebody who has to, who's responsible for the, the life and food and well-being of somebody who can't take care of themselves. So there are different levels. And it also depends on your support system. Some women have strong support systems. And so they may be able to get more done than somebody who's like a single mom, and it's just her and just
Right.
her young child. And so it may be a little bit more difficult, but it's not impossible. Your measure of success is just going to be a little bit different. And
I love that. Your measure of success is individual
absolutely.
and is uniquely yours. I say, even with my health challenges, some days it takes just getting out of the bed and coming into the living room is success for me. Even if I don't get to go out that door, just the fact that I made myself get up, came into the living room, fixed me something to eat, and sat up for a few hours is a major success. And I had to learn that to avoid the frustration and the anxiety and the disappointment and the disgust. And so I just really appreciate you speaking with us, and the whole, what you said about the support system is so important. I also value and I'm impressed with how you and your husband work together, whether it's doing something in the community, like supporting those who are hit by the hurricane, or doing the farming in your personal farm and orchard, or the soaps, or the videos. I just get like a smile when I see the two of you working together. And also the fishing. I forget about the fishing. And, and that cracks me up, because as busy as you are, and as much as I like aspire to be able to do some of the things that you do, not necessarily in your field, but with the focus that you do. When I saw you and your husband fishing that very first time, and how excited you were to catch that fish, I was tickled down to my soul. Like, oh my God, look at the marketing style. I mean, yeah, style. I was going to say specialist. The marketing stylist out there catching those fish. I just loved it.
Oh, that was fun. Big love it. We love fishing. I don't like the having to come home and kill them part. I don't necessarily, I'm not a fan, but that's how you get it did really cause a new respect for how you get food and food gets to the table. So of course we plant, we have food in the backyard that we grow, but bringing in fish, that was something different. And there was really a whole new respect. And I just felt very Native American about the whole thing.
That's so sweet.
Give thanks for this, it gave its life so that we can eat.
Exactly.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
like
Fish. And we're going to put you in this grease and it's going to be all right.
And it's
So
going to be all right.
it's
That
gonna
is
be
so
right.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, again, I thank you for spending time with me today. And I thank you for just being who you are. You touch so many lives. I don't even think you realize the lives that you touch, and how you impact people, because there are lots of times when I haven't spoken to you for a bit, and I'm working on something, I'm writing something, and you come into my mind, and then I remember a conversation we had, and I go back and make adjustments to what I'm doing. And so you really are a blessing to me, and I know you're a blessing to thousands of women. And to everyone that will watch this video, I sincerely, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I encourage you to contact Lisa, because there's so much more you can learn. There's so much more, we always are learning. You should forever be open to learning. And I think that that's where your success will come in. So again, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to let you go help some other people right now, but I really appreciate you taking this time with me today. What is your final word that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I'm so glad you asked. So the first thing we had talked about, don't be afraid. If you're a business owner, if you are not aspiring entrepreneur, don't be afraid to reach outside of your current circle. So that means a lot of times that we are ashamed because our credit isn't where it should be. We don't have money like we think that we should have. And so we don't consider ourselves to be real business owners, or we're going to launch, or we're going to, we're going to bootstrap and be really small. I would encourage you to think bigger. There are so many resources out there that will help you build your business. So start thinking about small business development centers. They exist on pretty much every college campus, and a lot of that stuff is free. Don't be afraid. Don't say to yourself, I'm too small, or that my dream or my vision is too insignificant that I can't go and talk to these professionals about starting my business. Please, 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 before you spend money on coaches, before you spend money on marketing gurus, before you spend, okay, before you put any more money in an offering that's supposed to be for your, please go talk to these experts who can help you. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed if you're starting small. For every woman business owner out there who thinks she's too small, too insignificant, please go talk to these people. So there's SCORE. These are mentors, free mentors that can at least help you get started. And again, the small business development centers, again, on every college campus, they can help you with setup. If your money's not straight, if your credit isn't straight, there are organizations like Lift Fund that will help you get yourself together so that you can have a banking relationship, because every business owner needs a banking relationship. So please don't think yourself too small. And then the second thing I would encourage you to do is to be quiet. Not everybody deserves to hear your vision. And I know we get so excited and we want to, I think one of the hardest things for this chick was shutting up. Yes. And not sharing everything with everybody, because not everybody can hold your vision. Not everybody can hold what it is that you've been purposed to do. And there are dream killers, and they will find 101 reasons to talk you out of the thing that you've been given. So write it down, journal it. And here, another thing is, not everything that you get is for right now. It may be for you to give to somebody else and they do it. So it may not even be for you to implement it. And not everything that you get is doable. It may be, and it may not be viable, or you may have to alter it. So you may start off as like, okay, well, I want to make dog biscuits, but then you find out, okay, well, this isn't feasible. You know, if I grow corn and dogs are allergic to corn, well, what else can I? So there may have to be a pivot. So you get that from being quiet. You get that from talking to experts, certified experts. I can't say that enough. Certified experts, people that have proof. Talk to people with proof.
Yeah.
And then again, I just really sense that so many women are scared, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, and they won't go to, because if you look at it on paper and it's like, oh, it's a hot mess on paper. It looks like a hot mess. My money's not right. My credit is bad. You know, I don't have this. And you'll talk yourself out of it. Not alone somebody else. You will talk yourself out of it. So sis, before you talk yourself out of it, write it down and go talk to these people. I have a list of mentors. I have a list of organizations that will help you start your business and start strong, because you can do this.
Awesome. Wow. That was powerful, because I know I definitely been guilty of that as well. Like, I write it down. And the more I write, it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. I don't have the money. I'm on disability. I don't have the support. If I, I need to be able to, if I have a successful business, I need to be able, because they're definitely going to kick you off disability. So I need to be able to sustain my day-to-day living. In the meantime, what am I going to do? So it's all these questions. And like you said, by the time you get finished talking to yourself, you just say, well, forget it. I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing. And that's why it's important to talk to the experts, and make use of. That's one of the things I notice about us in particular. This color here, we don't always take advantage of our resources. It's like, you hear people are so honest and distinctly tell you, here's a whole list of people that you can contact that will help you. And
Yes.
you write it down. Sometimes you write it down, sometimes you don't. And then you don't follow up, and you like a month or two later down the road, you're like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated. And you remember somebody pointed you in the right direction, but you didn't even start the car and head that way. And so we have to be willing to follow up.
Absolutely.
And,
It's in the follow-up. It is absolutely, like we was said earlier when we first started, that there's so much information on the internet. So if you got time to watch TikTok videos, if you got time to scroll Instagram reels, you have time to research, how do I start my business? How do I fund my business? You have time to research people that are doing what you do, watch what they do, see how they've set up, see how they're engaging their customers. Oh, there's always something that you can do, and it can take 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to take all of your time. There is something that you can do. And so for you, Miss Jamesina, I would even say that there is a strategy. Let me speak into you. There is a strategy for you on coming off of disability. So what you want to do is talk to an expert. I have X, Y, and Z. I have this intellectual property. I have this, I have this. I have these different revenue streams. Show me how to grow them so that I can get myself off of disability. So at the time, I'm starting to make revenue, or I make so much revenue, I could come off, and then boom, I'm making 6 figures. I'm pulling in 7 figures. I'm doing this, and it's not me having to extend a whole lot of energy.
yeah. Yes,
So
ma'am.
what you need is a strategy, and you can talk to the same people at the small business development. We can chat. It's all about setting up a strategy and setting goals for yourself. And it's like, I want to do this, I want to do this, and how do I do it? Because what this requires is a focus and a narrowness of vision. It's like, this is all I see is right here. How do I get from step A to step B? If you're talking about step Z, I can't do nothing because I haven't even gotten to B yet. So I'm hollering
Yeah.
to Z. And then if you're indefinite, if people are talking about why are you doing this, why are you doing that, you go on mute.
Right.
Go on mute. So
yes, ma'am.
I promise I can talk to this all day. It's like, you got a workshop. It's like, we can do this.
I know, because it's your passion, it's your assignment. And so you do it so well. I'm listening to you, and I'm going to play this video back for myself so I can write some things down. But yeah, definitely this is your calling. There's no doubt about that. And so I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, and don't let Kobe and Shaq interfere with what you're trying to do. It's so funny. I thought about them earlier, and I was going to mention them, but I forgot to just now. So how are your fur babies?
We have put up a sprinkler system, alert system in the backyard that protects my garden, because that Shack puppy dog, he likes to go running through my stuff. So he has taken out an okra plant. He has almost taken out some of my corn. And so we had put up temporary fencing around both of the garden beds. So this thing's jumping over them, still jumping through it. And it's like, I got you. So my beloved went and got this sprinkler system. So it's heat, it senses heat. So every time heat passes in front of the monitor, it just sets off the sprinkler. So now Shaq the Wonder Puppy, he don't want nothing to do with the outside.
That's so funny.
He don't want nothing to do.
Shaq the Wonder Puppy.
Shaq,
oh, poor baby.
that thing. Oh my
He
God.
don't mean no harm. He don't mean no harm.
You want a baby?
And Kobe's just probably sitting there watching him like, would you please sit down?
That's my old man. Kobe is my old man, and he's like, dude, just chill, just chill.
That's so cute. All right, Ms. Lisa, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Please give my love to your husband. I have not met him yet, but I just absolutely adore the way you guys work together. And again, we'll be talking very soon. And I think I will work on setting up a paid workshop for you to come in and talk with us, because there are so many women, especially since the pandemic started, who previously had ideas, and then they found time to start it, and they just need some direction, some structure. So yeah, I think we're going to set that up. And again, I thank you. It was such a pleasure seeing you.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
I talk to you soon. Bye-bye.